With millions of people around the world celebrating St. Patrick's Day, we decided to get into the spirit in this week's Bob Grebe's Virginia by paying a visit to Lucky in downtown Roanoke.
It's an ounce and a half of Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey.
The secret to a great cocktail
I've got 3/4 of an ounce of green chartreuse here.
is no different to the secret of being a great bartender.
1 ounce of simple syrup.
Or the secret to opening a great bar.
A 1/2 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice.
Use quality
And
ingredients
then it has an egg white for texture.
and follow the recipe.
And that's the Flannery.
Hunter Johnson and J.P. Powell opened Lucky in downtown Roanoke in October of 2010 with the willingness to try different things and take risks.
I had zero background in this.
Johnson was previously the vice president of Mill Mountain Coffee
These are the primary spirits in it.
and says being a barista is similar to being a bartender.
1/2 ounce of lemon.
The two positions share the same principles.
I'm a very big stickler on measuring things with a jigger, and the same thing goes in the coffee business. And then also you're working behind the counter interacting with guests. What you have to do in that setting as well is you have to be consistent. It has to be the same every time.
There's also the customer service end of the business,
Strain out the ice.
hospitality. Johnson understood that aspect and sought out the best in the field to learn the rest.
I'm going to heat the peel up to get it to release the oil, and I kind of identified in the beginning who the guys and gals were who were doing this job really well, and I made it a point to go and sit at their bar and watch them work.
Over the past 4 years, he's worked his way into the top of the ranks, having one of his own creations highlighted in Southern Living's publication, Bourbon and Bacon. In fact, it was the first drink listed.
Yeah, the Handsome Devil.
Another of his creations, the Grassy Hill, was featured in the local Palette magazine.
That just came out like last week.
The staff at Lucky is knowledgeable about pairing the food and drinks. Johnson says it goes beyond simply offering quality ingredients. It's cuisine and cocktails made with care. And no detail is too small to disregard, down to the size of the ice in the glass.
1 1/4 by 1 1/4 by 1 1/4.
It's cut by hand using a saw and chisel.
That's a major component that often gets overlooked.
But it's worth the time and the effort because it's all a part of the customer experience.
When someone sees the ice cube this big in their drink, they're going to ask like, wow, that's a giant cube, and we can explain there's a reason behind it. It not just looks nice, but it actually serves a purpose, so you get that slow melt.
The attention to technique and making things correctly spills over into Johnson making many of the mixers by hand, including his own tonic.
It's paying homage to the men and women who a long time ago started this craft, and we are all trying to emulate now.
What would seem like minor details are in fact metaphors for the way Johnson tends to his bar. It's his career.
Learn the craft and respect it, and have fun.
And he is incredible. There's
really
such
is.
a science to it. I had no idea. I mean, the ice cube itself is a pretty great example of it because, if you put smaller pieces of ice, they melt faster. Then there's more water in your drink.
People complain about that. I mean, I was a
Right.
bartender for several years, but it was one of those like busy bars in Washington, D.C., and everyone's just screaming for a drink, and you just get it to them fast. Nothing like the craft that he's mastered. I mean, that's incredible.
It really is. And he used to say that when you're younger, sometimes if a bartender was heavy on the pour, you would say, "Oh, I got a great drink."
Yeah.
No, it's all about the balance of the drink. And by the way, speaking of that, on our website, virginiafirst.com, you'll be able to find a video that we put on there where he shows us how to make the Flannery, which is perfect for today, of course.